not, because jealousy is a natural thing that happens when you are competing with another woman for a man's affection. Now you want to get mad and you want to send that woman out. Okay, but that's your fault though, because you knew what you was getting into. So if you're in a situation where you're a third party situation and you talking trash about the other woman, guess what? That's your fault, because you can remove yourself from the situation at any time. What is up, guys? Sophia here, your spiritual transformation coach. If you are new to my channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can stay updated on all my videos. Now, today I'm going to be talking to you about why you should not be competing with another woman over a man. This sounds like common sense. Legitimately, it does. But how many of you are out there competing with another woman for a man, trying to prove to him what an awesome catch you are, how you're better than her, so that you can get the ultimate prize, which is him, when you're like girlfriend number 2 through 7. And some of y'all are like, okay, but if I just last long enough, then I can prove to him that I'm the woman that he wants to choose and it will be all good. So even though this sounds like a completely common sense thing, at the end of the day, a lot of y'all are settling for being girlfriend number 2. Which brings me to my first point. If you're new to my channel, understand that the way that I like to prove my points is by going through the Bible, and I promise you, if you're Christian or if you're not Christian, you're gonna get something out of this, okay? It's just how I teach. So I'm gonna actually go to Isaiah 4:1 to prove my first points about where we have moved as a whole when it comes to women. So it says, and in that day, 7 women will take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own food and wear and provide our own clothes. Let us be called by your name. Take away our shame of being unmarried. So how many of y'all knows that this is legitimately this day? Because now these women are saying, like a lot of women today, let me cook for you, clean for you, pay your bills, co-sign for you a car, do this, that, and the third, so that you can be with me. And I also understand that you want to be with her, and that's okay. But as long as I'm not single, then I won't feel ashamed. But you should be ashamed by doing what you're doing. If you check out my other video, which I will list in the description box, where I specifically talk about the traits of a good man, is that it is the man's job to be the provider, not the woman's job. So when it says in this verse, in that day, that means when this was written, that wasn't happening then. But yes, in this day now, women have become the providers and become the sole, man in the relationship, just so that they can have a man, including sharing the man that they want with another woman. Now, at this point, you might be saying, okay, Sophia, but there were men in the Bible who were in polygamous relationships, so it must be okay. And, no, it's not okay. This is going to move me into my next point, that whenever somebody got into some type of polygamous situation with competing or having multiple wives, the crap never turned out right, which is why you shouldn't be doing it, because there's nothing new under the sun, and you will have the same type of issues, consequences, and situations if you find yourself in a situation with all these people. So the next verse that I'm going to go to is actually about Solomon, who we know was like super rich because God made him rich and he was super wise. But one of his things is that he had a thing for having a whole bunch of women. So if we go to 1 Kings 1:11, it says, now Solomon defiantly mean he wasn't supposed to be doing it, loved many foreign women along with the daughter of Pharaoh, Moabite, Amite, Edomite, Sinamite, everybodyite, okay? And then from the various nations who the Lord said, you shall not associate with them, or shall they associate with you, for the result will be that you will turn away your hearts to follow their God. Yet Solomon clung to these loves. He had 700 wives, princesses, and 300 concubines, and his heart and his wives turns his heart away from God. So what does that mean? If you watch my video, which I will also link in the description box, I'm always linking stuff in the description box, so always check down there. I talk about the spirit of lust. And on my blog, I talk about soul ties, which I will also link that down in the description box. So it's like every time you join yourself to a whole bunch of freaking people, and just like the Bible verse says, which I'm not gonna like find it now just because I did put it in those other videos, is that whenever you join yourself sexually to somebody, you are making soul ties with that person. So what God was saying, when these, people have all this type of idolatry, witchcrafty, the Moabites, they were known for like sacrificing people and all this other type of nonsense. So you are making soul ties with these type of wicked people. And now the consequences that you have turned yourself away from God, and ultimately you kind of turned yourself away from your own blessings. Because anytime you get distracted by something that is unholy, yes, I'm saying unholy, you have soul ties with between all three of y'all, and that is where your focus is going. So all of their little issues are coming inside of you. Your issues is going inside of them. His issues is coming inside of y'all, on top of the many other people that you're sleeping with, and ultimately you are making it bad for yourself. And it even says that Solomon did evil things in the sight of the Lord and did not follow the Lord fully as his father had done. When you invite the wrong in your life, then that is going to manifest itself in some other way, shape, or form. So because he was doing this with all these women and he wasn't doing it right, that is what came out in his behavior. So that is one of the consequences of getting into a third party situation, is that it is going to cause you to do stupid stuff that you're not supposed to be doing. So if even you are in a third party situation now, or you have ever been, you might notice that you are acting out of your character when it comes to this situation, or it is very difficult to walk away from this situation, even though you know it now. Going into my next point, which is point number 3, is that competing with another woman over a man is always going to incite jealousy. And the reason for that is because jealousy is called works of the flesh. Works of the flesh is anything that excites any type of negative emotion. When we go to Genesis 21:9, we're actually going to talk about the story of Abraham and Sarah. If you are not familiar with that, Abraham and Sarah could not have a child. Sarah, his wife, took it upon herself to give Abraham her maidservant, which was a woman, to have a baby. She had the baby. Sarah was still barren. She finally had her child, and this is where we're going to pick up. So now, as time went on, Sarah saw Ishmael, the son of Hagar, the Egyptian, who she had bore to Abraham, mocking. Therefore she said to Abraham, drive out this maid and her son, for the son of this maid shall not be an heir with my son. So at this point, Sarah actually created all of this nonsense. So she willingly entered this third party situation, and now that it turned to crap, because jealousy is a natural thing that happens when you are competing with another woman for a man's affection. Now you want to get mad and you want to send that woman out, and you want to tell your husband to tell her to get out, which Abraham did. He sent them out into the desert, which they could have died. Great thing, they didn't. But all of this is because of you. So really, it's like this jealousy that you feel when she was like, oh, Hagar is mocking me. Look at them. Okay, but that's your fault though, because you knew what you was getting into. So if you're in a situation where you're a third party situation and you talking trash about the other woman, guess what? That's your fault, because you can remove yourself from the situation at any time. It's like all of y'all want to point the blame at the other woman when really it's your fault and it's the man's fault. Because by this time, Isaac, the son, was a teenager by this point. So all these years she had to be jealous and go back and forth with this woman over this man, when really she was the cause of the problem, when really she didn't even have to get into the situation in the first place. She chose that. So if you just would have followed God's will and do what God told you to do and not be trying to do the most, then you wouldn't find yourself in this situation. So all of you women out here who sit up there praying for the man to leave the other chick alone and all this other type of nonsense, what makes you think that God is going to answer that prayer when God is telling you, why are you there in the first place? Why are you doing this? Point number 4, I'm going to talk about revenge. Because when you are competing with another woman, 9 times out of 10, y'all tend to try to be vengeful against the other woman in some way, shape, or form. This can come out through talking trash to the other woman through social media. This can come out through, oh, she had a baby by him, let me also have a baby by him. Or let me have a baby first by him so I can tie him to me so that he can leave her alone. And then she might be like, okay, well, let me have a baby by him too. And all this type of nonsense ensues. If you don't believe me, then of course it has happened before. We're gonna go to Genesis 31. And we're going to talk about Rachel and Leah. They were sisters and they were both married to Jacob. It says, when Rachel saw that she conceived no children for Jacob, she envied her sister and said to Jacob, "Give me children or I will die." And so then throughout this process, because it's a whole bunch of verses, basically her and her sister went about getting revenge against one another by having more kids to outprove one another. And then when they stopped having kids, or when Rachel could not have kids, she got her maidservant, just like Hagar, and started saying, "Here, take my maidservant," add more women into the mix. Take my maidservant and have kids by her so she can have kids for me. And so do you see how a messy situation already got messier? Because at this point, it really wasn't even about Jacob anymore. What it was about was trying to one up the next and trying to prove themselves more worthy than the next. Oh, if I just have more kids, if I just have more sons, if I just outdo her, if I just can do this better than her, then my husband will love me more. But at that point, you don't have a relationship. You might have a relationship with the other woman because that's where your attention is going and that's who you're trying to outshine. But that certainly is not a healthy relationship that you want to have with a man. Even in this instance, Jacob was having sex with Rachel, Leah's maidservants, Rachel's manservant. He was just getting all types of vagina. And y'all are sitting up there fighting, trying to, oh, if only he'll see, if only I do that. Really? Because right now, at this point, you're kind of playing yourself. The only stupid one here is you. The only victim here is you. And the only loser is you. So don't sit up here and be like, oh, well, let me have his baby first. Let me have a child by him so I can outshine his baby mama. Let me do this. Let me, do that so I can show that I'm better than her so that he will see me as being the better one. If he don't see that on his own and he don't actually want to leave the other woman alone on his own accord, you don't need to do anything to the other woman or invite more drama in your life to yourself in order to prove anything to anybody. Which brings me to my last point, and it is about the story of David. As you know, David had a whole bunch of wives, y'all. He was another one that had a whole bunch of wives, and coincidentally enough, he was the father of Solomon, who also had a whole bunch of wives, okay? So when it comes to David, these are the after effects that can happen when you are in a situation with another woman and another man or multiple women or whatever type of freaking situation that you're in, is that drama is going to ensue because there are too many people in the situation that don't need to be there, okay? The first issue, the major issue that he had was when Amnon his son, David's son, by one woman, decided to rape his half-sister Tamar by another woman. See, if he didn't have all these women, this wouldn't happen. All this, it's like when you breed bad things, then it's like more bad things happen. It's like you're gonna reap what you sow. Then after he raped the sister Tamar, David was like, oh, I can't punish my son because he's my son. And then Tamar's full brother killed Amnon. Mind you, all these are David's kids. Then David got mad, and then it was this big behind war where Tamar's full brother just ended up getting killed by David's people because he rose up against his father because his father refused to punish Amnon for raping his sister. See how all this unnecessary drama comes about? And then to further the case, once David was getting old, his wives were literally fighting for their son to be king. So what is my point? Is that when you go into this situation, and if you have a whole bunch of drama in your life based on this situation, once again, you have brought this on yourself. David cannot blame the fact that any of this on anybody but himself. If he would have just stuck with one wife, he wouldn't have all these kids. His daughter wouldn't have got raped. His sons wouldn't have got killed each other. None of this would have happened. But see, it's like a lot of y'all, instead of realizing that you're in control of what you do and your own destiny, you want to be ruled by either lust or what you think you want or what you think you feel you need to have, or trying to prove yourself to be the better woman. And you introduce yourself to this crazy situation, and when you get a whole bunch of crazy back, if you getting in fist fights with this person, if you having the other chick knock up on your door, if you're getting STDs from this whole situation, if the man is sitting up there playing both of y'all, saying, oh, I don't know which one I want, and having y'all fighting, y'all getting on arguments on social media, embarrassing your freaking self, all of that is your fault. All of it is your fault because of the situation that you put yourself in, and you can't blame nobody else but you. You can never go into a bad situation that you are doing or that you are causing and expect it to turn out good. Because even if you was to get married to this individual, let's say you waited around for God knows how long and you end up getting married to him, what makes you think he's not going to continue to cheat on you once he's married? He's already shown you who he was, and you have to blame yourself for that. So in closing, y'all, or you can get up, choose to be single, and trust and believe that somehow, some way, there is a better man out there for you that is not going to put you in a situation with a whole bunch of women. That's not ideal. That's not what you want. You want somebody that's fully dedicated to you. Because like I said, even though the Bible is old, let's be real. All of the stuff that I mentioned is not outside of the realm of possibilities of things that can happen, or are happening to you now based on you being in this situation. And on any given day, you can choose to get the heck up and walk the heck out and go about your daggone life. Nobody's making the decision to do this but you. Sorry, ladies, but somebody have to say it. All right, guys. So thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to leave a comment, question, concern, like, video request into the comment section because you know I love hearing from you guys. And don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys another day, another time. Bye, y'all.